I know. And
pijamas de Donkey Kong, güey.
And his 20 years so we have fun. At the end of every session, they'll say how lucky we are. No, well, this kid is my guest.
Like I might slip up and be like, yeah. Well.
Il a adoré m'envoie par contre. Il est mignon.
La torre, o sea, un poco de vértigo eso.
Yes, I appreciate that.
頭先講安呢條。
呢嚿嘢，呢嚿嘢。
Next stop, 11th Avenue and West 50th Street.
Because it's such a valuable thing.
we'll give it a chance.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Never too much. Never do like too much.
Oh, you thought you liked it?
No, I promise I wasn't hiding. Just me there.
It must be like every summer she chooses a new font. It's just no way. I'm sorry.
done.
Yeah.
So would the lip feel?
Corn and everything con todo. Three tacos, chicken.
Following this special 5-minute presentation, the doors to
Hey, where'd it go?
hope you'll come back to visit us again.
Hello.